Hi there, I'm Stewart Desson, the CEO of Lumina Learning, and people have been asking me, why do we need inclusive psychometrics and what's the problem with typing? Well, I'm going to give you 3 reasons why we need inclusive psychometrics and another 3 reasons why I believe typing is dead. So in terms of an inclusive psychometric, what do we actually mean? What we mean is a psychometric that values all the different ways of being. It doesn't describe one particular way of being more favourably than another. It goes to great lengths to minimise any bias in the measurement. If we take this as an example here with this particular splash, there's no type here. You have a reading of 8 different aspects within a person, and all of these aspects have been measured constructively and positively. A typical problem with many psychometrics is that they may value extroversion and measure it more positively than, say, introversion, but not so with the Lumina Spark psychometric. So it's inclusive of different ways of being and it minimises the bias. The second reason we need an inclusive psychometric is that we need to look at the dynamic within ourselves. So if I take as an example here a splash of Laura, and this is Laura underneath. So Laura doesn't really have just one personality. There's different aspects to who she is. This is who she is underneath, quite disciplined, focused, outcome focused. If we click here and now we have a look at what she's like every day, we find that her people focused increases and she reins in her outcome focused. In other words, there is a dynamic to who she is, and we need to capture and include all of the different aspects of who she is. Now, if I have a look at what she does under pressure, which we call it overextended, I have a click here, we'll see that when she's under pressure, she can sometimes be too nice, she can sometimes get too focused and be too sensible, or turn up the dial and be overbearing and so on. This is Laura's response to overextending, and that's an important part of who we are, the dynamic within. The third part of an inclusive psychometric is acknowledging the possibility that we may have opposites within ourselves. So if we have a look here, here's an individual that's high on big picture thinking, they're full of ideas and possibilities, but they also have a strong, sensible, down-to-earth, practical streak. They're doing both. Somehow they're embracing the paradox within. If I move on to the challenge with typing, there's a number of challenges, and one of them is if we oversimplify and type someone and label them and put them in a box, we might find this person here is extroverted and we may call this thinking, and this could be full of ideas and intuitive and going with the flow. We may label them and sort of discount this bit of them and view them just as one type, but that would be to ignore the other important bits of who they are. If you like, we're oversimplifying, and that's never a good thing. The second problem with typing is that it tends to be unreliable. With this person here, if we force them to choose, are you a big picture thinker or are you down to earth? And they really have the paradox and they're really both, we're going to frustrate them. And if they feel it in again in 6 months' time, this could come down a bit, this could increase, they could pop out as a different type. That's unappealing. So some psychometrics that type, you do it again 6 months later, and up to 50% of people can flip type. That's not reliable enough. The final problem with typing is that scientifically, types don't really exist. Evolutionary biologists will tell us it's highly unlikely that the human species would evolve into fundamentally different types like cats and dogs. That's not going to happen. It's on a continuum, it's on traits. And in fact, that's what we get in the data. When we say plot introversion and extroversion over a large number of people, we don't get a distribution that shows a whole group of extroverted people, a few confused people in the middle, and a whole group of introverted people. Not at all, quite the reverse. We actually get a normal distribution with most people in the middle and less people at the extremes. And the challenge with typing scientifically is it ignores that empirical fact, and many typing models try and divide and form types by putting down a line down the middle of the normal distribution. That's the worst point statistically that you can divide a distribution, and that's what contributes to the lack of reliability. So I'm hoping those 3 reasons why we need an inclusive psychometric and the 3 reasons why typing is dead resonate with you, and thank you for listening.